April 1862. 2 days of unspeakable horrors. Over 23,000 souls were either killed, wounded, or missing. For 2 days, chaos reigned as brothers and neighbors met at the crossroads of opposition and secession. This battle shattered any illusions of a quick and peaceful resolution and left behind scars that would haunt a nation. This was the Battle of Shiloh, the bloodiest turning point of the Civil War. Welcome to Historical Digs, where we uncover secrets from the annals of history. The road to Shiloh, the strategic importance of the Tennessee River Valley. The Tennessee River Valley boasts 652 miles of waterway, providing shorelines and lifelines through the heart of the South. For the Confederacy, holding the valley was essential to defending their territory and maintaining their communication lines. Losing it would mean exposing the Deep South to Union invasions. Both sides recognized the valley as a prize too valuable to lose, and tensions in the region had begun. In February of 1862, as a strategy to establish invasion routes by land and by water, as well as cutting off supplies to Confederate forces, the Union began their Cumberland and Tennessee Rivers campaign. Control over the river would allow the Union to split the Confederate forces and cripple their economy, eventually bringing them to the breaking point of surrender or insolvency. Are you passionate about uncovering history's hidden stories? Hit the like and subscribe button and let us know what other untold tales you'd like us to explore. Grant and Johnston prepare for conflict. U.S. Naval Fleet spearheaded the invasion up the Tennessee River, with 7 heavily armed gunboats, ground and artillery divisions meticulously staged. Union forces overtook both Fort Henry and Fort Donelson only 10 days into the campaign. This opened the way for a deeper push into Confederate territory. As a result of Forts Henry and Donelson's fall, Confederate commander General Albert Sidney Johnston was forced to leave his position in Kentucky and Middle Tennessee and head south with the purpose of protecting rail communications. In March, Major General Henry W. Halleck, commanding U.S. forces in the West, advanced armies under Major Generals Ulysses S. Grant and Don Carlos Buell southward to sever the Southern railroads. Johnston moved and concentrated his scattered forces around the small town of Corinth, Mississippi, where the railway supply lines intersected. After arriving by steamboat, Grant and his men established a base of operations on a plateau west of the river in Pittsburgh Landing, 22 miles northeast of Corinth, with his forward camps posted 2 miles inland around a log church called Shiloh Meeting House. It was here that Grant and his men were ordered to stand down and wait for reinforcements in a calculated push to permanently sever railroad communications to Confederates of the Western Theater. Johnston knew he had to act swiftly. On April 3, 1862, Confederate troops set out to bring the battle to Pittsburgh Landing, but heavy rainfall and difficulties encountered by mobilization of men and equipment delayed the attack. By nightfall on April 5th, his army of Mississippi, almost 44,000 men in total, were staged for battle just 4 miles southwest of Pittsburgh Landing. The battle unfolds. Day 1, April 6, 1862. As the early morning mist settled over Pittsburgh Landing, Union soldiers rested, unaware of the storm about to erupt. Confederate forces, led by General Johnston, launched a surprise attack just before dawn, storming out of the woods and overwhelming the Union camps near Shiloh Church. Grant's soldiers, caught off guard, scrambled to respond as intense fighting erupted. Union troops mounted counterattacks but were slowly pushed back toward Pittsburgh Landing. A brutal clash unfolded at a dense thicket, later known as the Hornet's Nest, where survivors recalled the relentless bombardment. Around 2:30 p.m. on April 6, 1862, Confederate General Johnston was struck by a stray bullet in the leg, a seemingly minor injury. However, the bullet severed an artery, and due to a previous injury, Johnston didn't feel the wound. By the time his aides noticed the profuse bleeding, it was too late. Johnston bled to death on the battlefield, leaving the Confederate forces without their most experienced leader at a crucial moment. Command passed to General P.G.T. Beauregard, a capable but less dynamic commander. As exhaustion set in among the Confederate troops, Beauregard halted their advance, believing victory was near. He was unaware that Union reinforcements, led by General Don Carlos Buell, were arriving. That night, the Union Army was battered and cornered near the river at Pittsburgh Landing. Confederate soldiers celebrated what they thought was a decisive victory, but Union General Ulysses S. Grant remained unshaken. In a calm exchange with General Sherman, who was wounded but resolute, Grant declared, "Tomorrow we'll attack them with everything we've got." Day 2, April 7, 1862. The turning point at Shiloh. By dawn on April 7th, Union reinforcements swelled Grant's ranks to 54,000 troops, outnumbering Beauregard's 30,000 men. Grant launched a ferocious counterattack, driving back the exhausted Confederates. Beauregard struggled to rally his troops, but by the afternoon, it was clear that the battle was lost. The Confederates retreated, leaving behind thousands of dead and wounded. The cost of Shiloh. The Battle of Shiloh resulted in over 23,000 casualties, making it one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. The scale of death shocked the nation and shattered any illusions of a quick, bloodless war. Grant faced harsh criticism for being unprepared, with many calling for his removal. Yet President Abraham Lincoln, recognizing Grant's unyielding determination, defended him. "I can't spare this man. He fights." For the Confederacy, Johnston's death was a devastating blow, and Beauregard's decision to halt the advance became a subject of debate for years. The South lost its best chance to crush Grant's army, marking a turning point in the war. Shiloh redefined the Civil War as a grueling conflict that would demand resilience, leadership, and the unrelenting will of men like Grant and Sherman. It was a brutal 2 days of bloodshed that forever changed the nation's course, setting the stage for the long, arduous years ahead. The aftermath and its legacy. Immediate results. A nation in shock. Shiloh left a staggering toll, including dead, wounded, and missing soldiers. This was a wake-up call for both the North and the South, revealing the brutal reality of the Civil War. Communities across the country were stunned as casualty lists reached homes, bringing grief and despair to families on both sides. The battlefield itself was a scene of devastation. Piles of bodies, abandoned weapons, and shattered landscapes illustrated the ferocity of the 2-day conflict. Maps of troop movements highlighted the intense fighting, while early photographs captured the somber aftermath, showing the extent of human and environmental destruction. Long-term impact. The Battle of Shiloh shattered illusions of a short and decisive war. Leaders on both sides realized that victory would require more than strategy. It would demand relentless determination and immense sacrifice. Shiloh became a critical moment for the Union. The victory allowed them to vanquish control over the Tennessee River Valley, a vital transportation and supply corridor. This success paved the way for future Union advances into the Deep South, setting the stage for campaigns like the Siege of Vicksburg. Personal stories. The human cost of war. The Battle of Shiloh left deep, indelible marks on those who lived through it. Soldiers recounted the unrelenting chaos of cannon fire, the agony of losing comrades in close quarters combat, and the horrifying aftermath. A battlefield turned into a landscape of death and despair. For many, the trauma didn't end with the fighting, it lingered in their minds, manifesting in what we now recognize as symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. These emotional scars, paired with the physical ones, were a grim testament to the brutality of war. But the impact of Shiloh extended far beyond the survivors. As the nation mourned collectively, communities sought ways to honor the fallen and preserve the lessons of such a heavy cost. Monuments were erected, and sites like Shiloh were safeguarded as hallowed grounds, serving as enduring reminders of the sacrifices made and the profound price of freedom. Even for future military leaders, Shiloh became a sobering study, not just of strategy, but of the devastating human toll of war. Legacy of Shiloh, a nation changed forever. Shiloh was not just a battle, it was a moment that redefined the Civil War. It exposed the brutal reality of a conflict that would test the resilience of a divided nation. For the Union, it underscored the importance of decisive leadership and long-term strategy. For the Confederacy, it marked the loss of a crucial opportunity to dominate the Western theater. As the war dragged on, the lessons of Shiloh, both tactical and human, remained a constant reminder of what was at stake. The battle's legacy lives on in the enduring memory of a nation tested by fire and blood. Lessons from Shiloh: the importance of preparation and reconnaissance. The Battle of Shiloh emphasized the critical role of preparation and intelligence in military strategy. The victorious Union forces were caught off guard on the first day due to the lack of adequate reconnaissance. For military strategists, this highlighted the necessity of constant vigilance and thorough reconnaissance to anticipate enemy movements. Both sides realized that underestimating the opponent could lead to catastrophic outcomes. The lessons from Shiloh became foundational for modern military practices, emphasizing pre-battle planning, intelligence gathering, and communication. The Battle of Shiloh stands as a defining moment in American history, reminding us of the immense sacrifices made and the resilience required to endure such trials. It serves as a testament to the price of freedom and the enduring strength of a nation divided yet determined to reunite. Beyond the statistics and strategies, this was a battle of human resilience, sacrifice, and the desperate struggle for survival. The Battle of Shiloh was not just a clash of armies, it was a stark awakening to the brutal reality of the Civil War. Yet, amid the chaos, leaders like Grant and Sherman emerged as symbols of resilience, shaping the future of the Union's strategy. Shiloh's legacy endures as a sobering reminder of the cost of freedom, a story of courage, sacrifice, and the unyielding spirit of a nation determined to redefine itself. As history echoes its lessons, one question remains: how do we honor such sacrifice while striving to prevent tragedies from repeating? Thank you for joining us in exploring the tragic truth about the Battle of Shiloh. Don't forget to subscribe and come back for more history digs.